Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. My name is Noelle Kreidler, and I'm one of the associate directors in the Career Center on the Career Development team. And I've got Shauna and Colleen with me, also from the Career Development team. And then our guest speaker today, Jennifer Fan, who is our account rep with Big Interview. And she's going to take us through kind of the great aspects of Big Interview, which is an awesome tool. And we would love for you to be able to use it more. And as I mentioned, we are recording this session, so I'm going to just turn it over to Jennifer and she'll introduce herself a little bit more. And then we'll have some time, I think, for questions at the end. Is that right,
Yep.
Jennifer?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Let you take it away.
Thanks everybody for taking the time to join today. So my name is Jennifer and I'm from Big Interview. So today I'm going to be just doing an overview of the platform. The Big Interview platform, if you're not familiar, does have a lot of really good content in terms of curriculum, in terms of best interview practices. We also do have a lot of practice sets to kind of help you hone your interviewing skills when you do need to go into an interview situation. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen and I'm going to go through the different areas on the platform. So starting here, if you're new to Big Interview and you do want to log into the platform, you'll use this URL here. It's scu.biginterview.com. I'm going to drop that into the chat box for reference. This user guide is a good place to start. So if you do have an account set up, you're just going to go ahead and log in. If you don't have an account set up yet, you'll just click on register to follow those prompts to register your account. Clicking on the user guide here, this is going to show you how to navigate the platform and how to access Big Interview. So if you're using a laptop or a desktop, we do strongly recommend that you use the latest version of Google Chrome or Firefox for the best experience. If you're using a mobile device, we do strongly recommend that you download our mobile app, and that's available through the Apple Store or Google Play for the best experience. This is also going to show you what the dashboard looks like, the Learn area, the practice section, the My Videos area, assignments, and then finally support options. You won't see resumes, so I apologize for this. This actually should not be there. And then you'll see our support email here. If you ever need any kind of assistance regarding maybe camera or mic issues or other technical issues, or just have a question, you can reach out to our support team at support@biginterview.com. I'm going to click out of here and go directly to our demo site. This is going to look slightly different than what you guys see on your end, just because we do have every upgrade feature embedded into here. But once you do log in, this is the first page you'll see. Scrolling down the page, you'll see recent activities. For example, if you've been assigned an assignment and you're working on that but have not completed it, you'll see the assignment details there. If you're working on a practice set or curriculum and you have not yet completed it, it'll land in this area. Or let's say you're working on a course, that will land in this area. You'll see the number of assignments that you have and the practice sets that you've been working through.
I'm just going to interrupt you real quick, Jennifer, and let people know that some classes at SCU do use Big Interview as part of a class, and so that's where you would get an assignment. So if you're not familiar with that now, that's probably because you're not in the class where that's what's going on.
Thanks, Noel. Moving on to the assignments area. So if you are in a class that utilizes Big Interview, this is where you'll navigate to when you do want to work on an assignment. We do have this how to use assignments video if you're not really sure how to get started. So I do recommend viewing that first. Active assignments will be housed in this tab. There are two different ways for you to start an assignment. You can either get an access code. The access code will be provided by your instructor. And if you do receive that, basically you'll just plug in the code here, hit go, and that's going to take you straight to the assignment. Or you can get an email invite. If you get an email invite by your instructor, basically you'll get an email with a unique URL And once you click on that, it'll take you directly to the assignment to start. Any assignments that have been submitted for admin or instructor review will land in this area here. You can also come back to this area to check your grade, but you'll also get an email once the assignment has been graded. Navigating to the Learn tab, Interview Curriculum. This is where we have a number of different curriculum and tracks that you can work within. We have what we call the Fast and Mastery track that basically covers best interview practices. Fast track is something that we would typically recommend if you have an interview coming up fairly soon, for example, 16 video lessons. We click into here. This basically is going to cover things like interview fundamentals, acing common questions, and closing the deal. So you'll notice in each section, there'll be some videos, a practice question, and then a quiz to test comprehension. So once each item's completed, there'll be a green check mark on the right-hand side. You can also check your progress at the top here. There's also a transcript of all of the video content and some optional homework that you can complete. We also have something called the mastery track. It's basically the same format. It's just more comprehensive. 50 video lessons here. Again, this is going to cover best interview practices. So this is going to include things like interview basics, acing common questions, behavioral interview questions, and then some playbooks for common challenges. So again, within each area, you'll see some videos, a practice question, and then a quiz to test comprehension. Once each item's completed, you'll see that green check mark on the right-hand side. You can check your progress at the top here. Again, there's a transcript of all of that video content and some optional homework that you can complete. We also have something called interview playbooks, and this is geared toward different life situations. So for example, if you're about to graduate, you can click on these lessons to view. Let's say you are overqualified, or maybe you're a little bit shy or modest, you can click into these lessons to view. We also have job search curriculum, and this talks about how to network and create a really good online presence in the midst of a job search. We have resume curriculum, and this talks about how to structure and format a really good resume. It also offers some guidance in terms of how to write a really good cover letter and thank you notes. We have negotiation curriculum, and this offers some negotiation basics, some strategy, and some advanced negotiation techniques. We have first 90 days curriculum, and this is targeted toward those individuals who have landed a position, but they just want to ensure that they're successful within that 90-day time frame. And then finally, we have our written curriculum. This is 9 different modules. This basically covers everything in the video content, but it's more geared towards those individuals who tend to learn better by reading the content versus viewing it. So for example, if I click into module 1, interview basics, your job interview objectives, once I've completed reading this whole section, I'll get that green check mark on the left-hand side of the screen. Also, once you've completed either track, playbook, or curriculum, you'll get a certificate of completion, which will land in this My Certificates area. So from here, you'll see all the certificates you've received. So for example, if I click on Job Search Certificate, you'll see my name, the date it was completed. If you scroll down the page, you can download that certificate. And right now, it's only downloadable via PDF format. You can also access your certificates if you navigate to your profile. From here, you can click on certificates to also access the certificates there. Moving on to the question library. The question library basically houses all of our interview practice sets. We have question sets that are general. These are typically going to be basic questions that you might generally receive in an interview situation. You can also filter by industry, and this is pretty comprehensive. You can also filter by competency, by admissions interview. There's some government related sets here and some veteran sets. On the top, you can also perform a search query. So for example, if I'm looking for behavioral related questions, I type that in and I hit enter. Basically, the system is going to return any questions related to that behavioral type. Moving on to the practice tab, practice sets, we're going to see those sets housed here again. These are basically what we call standard sets. Besides standard sets, you'll see something called custom sets. Custom sets are basically sets that your school sets up for you. So if your school or your instructor wanted you to work on a specific custom set, you would click into here to access those specific sets. On the bottom here, if you've started a particular custom set or one of the predefined practice sets on the platform and it's in progress, it'll land in this area here. This will show the interviewer name or the custom set name. It'll also have the date that that set was started and your percentage of completion. Any sets that have been completed in full will land in this specific area here. I'm going to click into the general area so we can see the question sets housed there. So within this area, within our general area, you'll see question sets like the top 10 questions, our entry level set, mid-level, senior level, managerial, internship, career change, some uncomfortable questions in elevator pitch. From each set, you'll notice that the questions go from standard all the way to very tough. You can also favorite sets. You'll notice that I favorited the top 10 question set here and the entry level set. Any sets that I favorited will land in this specific area. There are also featured sets that your school can specifically recommend for you. And then again, those custom sets that your school puts together for you to work on. One thing that I think is really helpful is that we have tips and answers embedded into the interview questions. So for example, if I wanted to start on this top 10 question set, click into tips and answers. Let's say I'm struggling with that tell me about yourself question and I click into this tip. This is going to give me some really good content on how to answer that specific question. I'm going to click into practice with Stacy so you can see that what the interview situation looks like. You won't see the screen pop up. This does relate to AI feedback. So we're just going to practice without. So once you're in the practice set, you'll see the questions on the left-hand side. You can preview the question before you start recording.
Tell me about yourself.
Again, there's that little tips button. If you're not really sure how to answer that question, and this can guide you on how to formulate a really good response. Once you're ready to start recording, you'll click start recording, 3-second prompt, and then you'll just go ahead and start recording your response. Once you're done recording, you'll hit stop recording. If you're satisfied with your answer, you can click on save answer. Once you've saved your answer, you'll see a green check mark on the right-hand side. All of the responses that you've saved will land in your My Video section. So from here, you can either re-record your response if you don't like your first response, or you can just delete that response altogether. And then you can just move on to the next question until you've completed the whole set. You can also skip questions. So for example, if I wanted to skip number 1 and jump to number 4, you can also do that.
Why are you looking for a new opportunity now?
Moving on to interview roulette. If you navigate to this specific set, you'll notice that this has 20 different questions. You'll see the first question here, but you will not be able to see the subsequent questions in this set. The questions are very random. One thing to note is that some of the questions that pop up might not pertain to everybody's profession just because they're kind of picked at random. You would record the same exact way. Start recording, 3-second prompt. Once you've recorded your response, you'll see that green check mark. and then you'll move on to the next question until you've completed that whole set. All of your responses will land in your My Videos section. Clicking into the My Videos area, again, this is where all of your video responses will land if you're working from either a practice set or a custom set. If you're in a class that does use Big Interview for assignments, those videos will be housed in the assignments area. You also won't see this AI score option, but you will see these items here in the actions dropdown. From here, you can also share out your videos to anybody you'd like. Right now, you can share 10 videos at a time. So for example, if I wanted to share these first 2 responses, I can click on the radio button, click share now. This dialog box is going to pop up. You can either copy the link to share those videos, or you can email the individuals along with a message for those you'd like to share out to. From the actions dropdown next to each response, you can also review yourself on how well you think you did on that particular response. You can make that video private. You can re-record from here. You can share from here, or you can just delete that response altogether. You also won't see that analytics area. I'm going to move on to the answer builder section. So from this area here, let's say you're targeting a specific role, or maybe you're working through some really difficult behavioral questions. You can come into this area to build out specific answers to kind of help you when you do go into a specific interview situation. So we do have this intro to answer builder video that shows you how to get started. And I do recommend viewing that first. When you do want to build out an answer, you're going to click on start. You'll choose the type of answer you'd like to build out. You can choose from our predefined ones here, or you can set up a freeform answer. I'm actually going to click out of here and click into one that I've already created. So if you've already created an answer, it'll land in this manage existing answers area, my answers. So in this example, I'm targeting a specific role. So I put the job title of the role I'm targeting, and I put some bullet points in terms of why I wanted to work for this company or organization and why I wanted to work for this opportunity. I can edit my answers here from the actions dropdown. I can also edit my information. I can also export that. If you export that, it's just going to download in a Word document, or I can just delete that response altogether. Right now, there's no cap in terms of how many answers you can build out. So you can essentially build out as many as you'd like. Also, a couple things on the platform. If you navigate to your profile here, from here, if you ever needed to change your password or anything like that, you can do that from this specific area here. We do also have an accessibility widget. So if you ever needed to adjust your screen settings, you can just click on this little widget here, and you can adjust that information from this area. You'll also see a help center widget. So if you click on this, a couple of things will pop up. If you click on visit our knowledge base, this does have some really good support articles for you. If you click into general support, it does have some information. So if you have any trouble with camera and mic setup, for example, you can click into this article to view. If you need some advanced troubleshooting, you can click into here. Also, it has some process overviews of each specific area on the platform as well. And you can kind of view these articles to get some assistance if needed. From this little widget, you'll also see some getting started videos. So if you are new to the platform, I do recommend clicking on the getting started videos. Basically, it's going to show an overview of how to navigate the platform. You'll see any updates on the platform here. You can also provide us with some feedback as well if needed. If you're submitting a bug report, we do ask that you kind of click on our little help widget here on the bottom. That goes directly to our support team. And I did mention the support email is support@biginterview.com. Whenever you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to us there. That's basically it for the student side of the platform. One other resource I did want to share is our resources blog. So we do have a lot of information here, a lot of really good articles related to interview prep and interview Q&A, and I'm going to drop that link into the chat box just for reference. And that is basically it. Any questions for me?
Students, feel free to come off mute and ask a question or put it in the chat and I can read it out.
Any questions?
Why don't we just give them a minute or so? Do you have any tips on what you've seen works best for students when they're using the tool?
In terms of
Maybe like frequency. I guess the more you use it, the better, obviously, but
yeah, I think practice makes perfect. I mean, it's kind of like that old adage, honestly. And I was discussing this with Noel earlier. I think the interviewing landscape has definitely become a bit more challenging. So I think going in there, I wish I had this when I was younger so I could practice, because it really, the more you practice, the more you feel comfortable. Because a lot of people are nervous when they go into an interview situation because they don't want to mess up, but sometimes they, they get a little bit of those nerves. And I just think practicing makes them more confident.
definitely. Yeah. I would agree. Any other questions from the group?
I had a quick question.
Yes,
Jennifer, when
please.
you were showing us the videos, you said that you could make the videos private. So I'm just wondering, are my videos not going to be private? Who's going to be able to access my videos?
No, I mean, basically how it works is, like, let's say you shared out some videos to some individuals, but you don't want them to have that access anymore. That's when you would set that to private. And basically, we don't share any information to any third parties, so nobody else is going to be able to see your content except for your instructors from your school.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions?
If not, I just want to thank you, Jennifer, for this presentation. It was really helpful. I actually learned some things I did not know, so thank you so much.
Sure.
And thank you to everybody who participated in asking questions and just being on the call today.